Hello, hello, hello. If you in the building, make some noise. Hello, everyone. My name is Shiny B, and I'm up here with these amazing women that I'm getting ready to introduce in just a second. And welcome to the Lady League of Favor Talk, okay? And we're going to get into some really great things tonight. We got some surprises for you tonight. And are you ready? Are you ready for this talk, you all? If you here, ready to be blessed on the Facebook Live, before we get started, we need a favor. We need to share this. I'm going to give you a few minutes to share this live. That's okay, I'm loud. So we want you to share this live. You do not want anyone to miss this. Okay? All right, can y'all hear me now? All right, I'm in the house. All right, go ahead and share this live, y'all. We have a great topic on today. It is reclaiming your crown. Ladies, do you know that you have a crown? You are a child of God. You are a woman of God. And guess what? You have a crown, all right? And so we're going to be readjusting our crowns tonight through all of the great conversations. But before we do that, I have to introduce these amazing women, okay? So I'm going to start on this side, looking fabulous as ever. Flying in from Houston, Texas, the future Mrs. Reverend Richard Boone, as you can see from the rock on her finger, Miss Megan Barnes. Y'all give it up for Megan, y'all. All right, and then also coming over here looking just beautiful, pretty in pink. All right, the First Lady of Favor Friday ABC movement, Miss Kyra Barnes. Y'all show her some love, y'all. Then this beauty over here, just looking nice and cozy and just gorgeous, ready to drop her gems, Miss Phoebe McLean. She is our co-lead for our dance ministry and our hospitality, so she be doing double duty, so thank you so much. Hey, girl. Flying in from Houston, Texas, y'all. Miss Rachel Boone, she is a part of our ministry team, and fun fact, she is my widow sister. So, and she gonna be dropping some gems today. So again, I am the moderator, Shiny B. Yeah. I am the stop, I'm shy. I am Shiny B. I am the ministry team co-lead, and so we are excited. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. You guys ready? All right, so let's go ahead and kick it off. So, our first question that I want to ask you ladies on tonight is, let's talk about women in leadership. Everybody here on this panel, and even in the audience, holds a leadership position. Even if you don't have a title, you don't need a title to be a leader, right? But women in leadership, you know, what do you think is the most significant barrier, or I'm going to say barriers, because sometimes we just really be going through it, to female leadership? And so I want to start there. What do we think are some of the barriers that happen in female leadership? I'm going to actually start with Megan. She look at me in my eyes. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with Miss Megan Barnes, and then ladies, you can just jump right on in.
Oh, Lord, my microphone is short. Okay, here we go. I believe that one of the barriers that comes with being a woman in leadership is literally that, like being a woman, period. So people often underestimate women, and then when women actually assert some type of authority, it's seen as being overbearing or being, you know, the dreaded B word, and it's like literally any little thing is almost like you will be judged for it, whether it's you're too emotional or you're too aggressive to be a woman, or whatever decision that you make. It's almost like because you are a woman in leadership, people will have something to say. There are many things that women do that may be the same thing as a man, but just because you're a woman, you're seen like so much differently. You're judged harsher. Women don't get as many opportunities as men. There are so many things, and it all goes back to literally just because you are a woman. So that's definitely one barrier, literally just being a woman.
I'll jump in as well. I will also say that one of the biggest barriers to being a woman in leadership is pretty much along the same lines as what Megan has already stated, that discrimination. It's like when we see men in leadership, we respect it a little bit more than what we do when a woman is in leadership. And it's almost as if people are more offended by what a woman will pose to the group of people that she is leading as opposed to a man. Men can get away with a lot of things. They can say things a lot of different ways. And even if it comes off as aggressive, I feel like as a people we are more accepting of it coming from a man instead of a woman. Like we receive that backlash when women are doing it like, oh, she has an attitude, she's aggressive, like she doing too much. But when a man does it, it's all fine and dandy. So again, that discrimination.
Just to piggyback off of that, I really do hate that a lot of people mistake um, our passion for being too emotional. Like Megan said, they say we're too emotional, and it says that it is dictating our decisions that we are making. So I feel like when we actually get in that leadership position, people are waiting for us to fail. And so when we make a mistake, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the biggest mistake in the world. But I mean, if a man did it, it's just, oh, it's minor. And I just feel like it makes a lot of women lack the confidence to even want to go out for leadership positions. And that's why we're outnumbered.
Yeah, I agree with all of you ladies. In leadership as a woman, it's how we carry ourselves is so important. So women, we tend to try to carry ourselves a certain way, be extra cautious, watch how we talk, and sometimes even as black women, we have like this certain tone and be very passionate, or we talk with our hands. It's like, oh, you this angry black woman, or you being aggressive, and it's like, no, this is just me expressing myself. And then also, I see a lot of times with women in leadership that men do not know how to submit to women leaders. That's a big one because sometimes the women have all the qualifications. They can have the master's degree, they can have the doctor's degree, they can have the expertise, but they do not like correction or do not like to have women to tell them this is what I need. So that expectation, they feel like they have to get away with everything. But it's like, no, I'm the leader and I'm telling you this is how it needs to be. So it's a lot that women have to really go through just to show like I am qualified for this position. And even sometimes when hiring, with the hire process, they don't want to hire the black woman sometimes because it's like, no, I don't think you fit, but I'm showing you this is how I fit.
And then I just also want to add too, I mean, everything that you all said, I also think that sometimes a barrier is ourselves as well. Because we are aware of the different stigmas that we come under, we come into certain situations with that chip on our shoulder. And we can see it, it affects our confidence, it affects our ability to lead and make good decisions because we're so under pressure and we're expecting for people to expect us to fail. We expecting for people to think of us as less. And so we can't make clear and sound decisions based off of where I'm being led to make the decision. It's more so like, okay, well, I just already know it ain't gonna go through. And so I think even stepping into a position, understanding that yes, these stigmas are out there, but I really don't know the situation until I get into it. Or when I come across the stigma, I'll address it as such versus, I think sometimes we get awareness mixed up with, assuming, right, that this is what it is. We know that that's what it is, but it's like going into it with a clean slate. I got to get this chip off my shoulder because if we come in there like that, people ain't going to want to deal with us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, again, being a great leader is being a great listener and also being able to know that I have the confidence in myself to be able to make these decisions, but I have to know that, right? And so I would love to hear from everybody, what are some things that we feel like we can do to affect change, right? Because we know those stigmas are out there. Like, what do we want to do? What are we going to do? What are we doing to be able to affect change so we can kind of switch this narrative around a little bit?
I can go. I think for me, like, for example, for my own personal life in the workforce and outside of work, is not being afraid to use my voice. My voice is very important because I tend to sometimes realize in a situation I'm more of an introvert in a sense. So I observe the room. I assess everything. So I'm a good listener. I be knowing what's going wrong, what's not going right, and everything. But sometimes being afraid to speak up because not knowing, again, like you said, assuming what the outcome will be. So just knowing my voice hold value. I got hired in this position and I got put in different leaderships, if it's in a church, outside of the church, wherever it is, because of the value that I bring to the space. So don't be afraid of my own value of my voice.
Y'all can clap, it's okay. We love it. Y'all can make some noise. If you guys are loving what you're hearing on the live, go ahead and drop a 100, drop a something, a little peace sign, whatever y'all want to drop. And just let us know that you're feeling what we're saying, okay? Because we dropping gems all night. All right. Anybody else on that? Okay.
So I would say in an effort to break some of those barriers that we're experiencing in leadership, I think that it will be important for us to continue to train up other women leaders, to make women in leadership a norm. Like, for so long, it just wasn't the norm for a woman to lead. And whether that be, again, in the church or in the work setting. Like, for myself, I work with high school students. So for me, it's giving those young black women the opportunity to share how they feel and giving them the skills that they will need beyond what I am doing for them so that they can go out one day and be leaders as well.
I think that's really great, Takira. And we have to admit, ladies, like, women in leadership is experiencing a shift right now. Like, we're seeing so many women CEOs, CFOs, COOs, more than we've ever seen before, right? And so I think being able to ride this wave, like, thinking through, like, okay, what can we bring to the space that's innovative? What can we bring to the space to, like, make sure that we are relating to every woman? I think even, like, effective marketing tools. How am I relating to the woman and not being afraid to be a woman? I think sometimes we get in leadership and we like, well, I got to think like a man. No, you're in this space because you are a woman. I think embracing our femininity and knowing that, like, we bring something special. We bring that vulnerability because that's what you need. Even if you're seeing, was it Gen Zs? They're more so gravitating to what's relatable. And so being able to, like, illustrate and create different scenarios and different spaces where people can actually relate to you, that's what's going to break through, right? And so, going into it knowing that, like, I guess owning the room. Like, I am woman, hear me roar. And I know that that's, like, cliche, but that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am a woman. I have a voice. I have a soft side. I have a demanding side. I have so many, like, complex things to me, and I can bring it to the space and really make this position pop. And so I think just really owning that femininity is something that's, like, really, really important as well.
I agree with that, Shani. Well, I agree with what everyone has been saying, but also I think that really leaning into the leadership roles instead of, like, shying away from them. This is actually something that I'm dealing with now because, like, y'all don't know this about me, but I don't like being in leadership. Like, I know I have this big personality and things like that, but I hate being in leadership. Like, I don't like it. I really do not. Like, I think that my most comfortable and like most safe self is just like to myself. Like I could do what I want and I can deal with others when I want to. But like when you're a leader, you can't just deal with people when you want to. If you're leading a group of people, you have to be on, and like no matter how you feel, you have to communicate. You have to do all of these things, and these are all things that I would just rather not do. But I will say that because I know that God has called me to lead others, that's something that has been clear to me, very evident, because it's like I did not choose to be a leader. I'm a natural born leader. And with that being said, I am now trying my best to lean into everything that comes with it, with being a woman in leadership, and with, speaking up when I feel like something is wrong, and confronting people and things like all the good and the bad that comes with leadership. I would definitely say that really leaning into it and learning and growing through it instead of shying away from it would actually be like something else to add to that too.
That's amazing. Y'all give it up for these ladies, okay? This is really good. So I have another question for you ladies, and since we're diving deeper into leadership, I said this before in one of my answers, but I believe that being a good leader is being a good listener, right? And listening is essential to any kind of relationship. If you always talking, there's no way you can absorb what's going on, right? And so can you share your beliefs on the benefits of actively listening and practicing these skills? And how do you feel like it's expanded your quality of relationships, whether personal, different business partnerships, and, just any type of interaction? Like, how has being a leader and listening, actively listening and practicing been beneficial for you?
I think it's very beneficial for me because I talk a lot. I know I do. I used to get in trouble in school. My mama used to go to my teacher like, yeah, she was talking, wasn't she? And they were like, yeah, you must know your child. So for me, I had to learn it at an early age. Like punishment was the scripture be slow to speak. That was my scripture for me. But it helped me a lot because I realized even with relationship building, friendships, whatever ship, that sometimes you don't know what others know and how you hurting people if you don't listen. Sometimes they're giving you information that sometimes that you skipping over. So if you always over talking someone, you shadowing their value and you shadowing what they have to say to present to the room. So just being open, being quiet, and also making it acceptable that they have a voice too, not just me. So listening, that's something that I really, really had to work on, and it's been going really, really great. So I see a different change in everything that I do, and it also shifts the environment when I'm having conversations.
I think when you listen to people, you have the opportunity to create meaningful relationships, that things aren't just one-sided when you are talking to people and you want people to listen to you, but you're able to create something meaningful between another person. Hold on, I had another thought. Let me wait till it come back to me. Give me a second. Hold on, y'all. We'll come back.
It's okay. When you got a lot of gems in your head, sometimes they get a little mixed up. It's okay. We're going to come back to you.
Yeah, okay, so I think listening allows you to learn different perspectives. I'm a Delta, and when we were pledging, I swear I used to just pop off on everybody because I just felt like I'm always right. I learned it this way, so we need to do it that way. But then when I kind of took a step back and I realized that everybody didn't grow up like me, people learn to do things in different ways, and I actually got a chance to learn how to do different things in a different way. I learned how to express myself in a different way. I learned how to actually be a leader when I became a Delta because a lot of my sisters taught me how to speak to people and that everybody doesn't feel how I feel. And so it allowed me not to be as selfish because I feel like when you're always waiting to respond instead of like listening, then you are popping off for the wrong thing. They didn't even say that. So I think listening allows you to understand where someone else is coming from.
Thank you for that, Rachel, because my thought came back. So, when you create those meaningful relationships with people, it gives you the opportunity to learn how to love them. Because a lot of the times, like, we want to love people the way that we feel we want to be loved, or what feels most comfortable for us. But a lot of the times, if we're not listening and paying attention to what people are presenting to us, we can miss that what works for us may not work for them. And then it goes back to us being in leadership. Like, you have to know how to approach people. You have to know what's comfortable for them. Like, even in Favor Friday, I am a leader in Favor Friday, so I know that there's some people who won't accept my aggressive tone as much. And though I may feel like, hey, that's just me, it's sometimes where you have to readjust. Because again, what works for one person won't work for everybody. So you're able to learn people and approach people in a manner that will be suitable for them.
And to that point, that's really good, actually, because it is impossible as a leader to cultivate your people if you don't know your people. And you can't know your people if you ain't listening to your people, right? And so being able to, listen, even in how they speak, how they think, because a lot of people, sometimes people tell you who they are in so many ways, right? And being able to observe that, knowing their strengths, I'm not even gonna say their weaknesses, but their areas of opportunity, gives you an opportunity to see like how not only to cultivate them, but what is going to motivate them to want to be cultivated. And so being able to like be, listening, like Rachel said, now I'm practicing as a leader to actually, know how to respond by listening. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's like I got an answer for everything. Like I literally sometimes feel like I got an answer and a response literally for everything. Okay, I'll be ready. I got it in the chamber, in the gun, I'm ready. But now I am learning that like my reality of what I've been experiencing with that person may not be their reality. And just because my reality is personal to me doesn't mean that their reality shouldn't be, I shouldn't be empathetic to their reality. And so learning that and being able to listen has allowed me to be able for people to open up to me, because I also felt, and this is number 2, I also felt that I needed to have an answer for everything to be a good leader. Like I really thought that. I thought to be a good leader, to be a good friend. I remember people coming to me and talking to me and coming to me with problems, and I just felt like, okay, well, I need an experience that matches their experience so I can, okay. And so instead of really listening to them, I'm trying to think, okay, what example of my life can I do to be wise? But sometimes it's just listening and being empathetic and crying with them and holding their hand and telling, that can do as much as it is as if I had something wise to say, And so I just think that even in my sister circle, right, I'm learning that like I can take the night off. Like I don't have to always be the super friend. Sometimes I just want to be sad too. We can be sad together, And so I just think it's been so beautiful to surrender to the fact that like I don't have to always have the answers to be a good leader.
I love that, Shawnee. I also think that when you were talking about empathy and things like that, I think that when you actually listen to what people are saying, and even to what they thought you said to them, that allows like space for grace. Like when you realize that you said something and you ask somebody, okay, now what did you hear me say? And they say what they felt like you said, and you realize like, oh, you thought I said that, but that's not what I meant at all. So I think that with that open line of communication and with actually listening to understand and get to know people, that it definitely leaves that room for you to give them more grace.
I'm gonna tag that too because when you listen to people, it allows you to avoid conflict as well. Because sometimes we miss those important details in a fairly simple conversation. Like, for instance, if we are approaching a situation that's not so pleasant, if we have the opportunity to listen to people and take their perspective and then also allow them to understand our perspective as well, it avoids conflict.
Oh, and just to add on to that, I teach, and at first, like when my kids used to just make me mad, I just start yelling, like, be quiet. Like, why are y'all talking? But I realized that I had to approach them in a different way because maybe I understood yelling when I was younger and that's how it shut me up. That's not how it shut them up. It ticked them off now, and now we going back and forth. But now I approach them like with a little bit more peace, and I'm just like look, now I told you to sit down. Okay. And so, like, I think listening and the way that you approach people and the way that you understand people, the more that you do, you can keep the peace.
Y'all is doing an amazing job. I just had to stop. I'm sorry, that was good. Okay, but I'm ready to go a little bit deeper. Can we go deeper? We are not only women, but we are black women, okay? And we know that comes with a whole nother set of challenges, obstacles. I've been abused, scorned. Lord have mercy. Okay, so I want to go a little bit deeper. And there's this narrative, the strong black woman. And I put emphasis on strong, right? Like, women, we got to be strong. We can't show our feelings. We can't be vulnerable. We got to always be on top of our game. That narrative of a strong black woman. Do you think that this narrative helps or hinders us? I'm going to start because I got something to say. Honestly, I think that it hinders us sometimes. I know me personally, again, I always feel like I can't show my feelings. Like sometimes it's really hard for me to open up when it comes to being vulnerable. That is a very hard place for me. And in my almost 33 years of living, I am now just learning to like bloom and open up and just cry like Johnny on the spot. And it's been so beautiful. Like I take the time every month, once a month, to just sit and cry. I turn on my music. I'm telling you, look, because it's cleansing, right? Because I'm walking around here, not only am I taking on my stuff, but I'm taking on my husband's stuff. I'm taking on my kids' stuff. I'm taking on people's stuff at work, leadership position. I'm taking on other people's stuff. So much is piling up on me. And I'm saying, well, I'm a strong black woman and I can do this. But sometimes I don't want to do this. And it's okay to say, I know I got a lot of stuff to get done, but it's like, I don't feel like doing this today. And it's okay to say that. And it doesn't make me a failure. It doesn't make me weak. It doesn't make me, anything less than what I am, which is a strong black woman. But sometimes I believe that strength is vulnerability. It takes more strength to be vulnerable than it does to be like closed off, in my opinion. And so just wanted to start and share that. I think sometimes it could be very much a hinder to us because it closes us off to our feelings and emotions.
I would agree with you, Shani, but I'm also going to take the other end and say that it helps us as well in some instances. I know for me, y'all know I love black people. I love being a black woman as well. But I think as a black woman, too, being that strong black woman, it also gives off, don't play with me. In the work setting, school setting, church setting, it gives off, I am not to be played with. Like, y'all know, black people, we are dominant, and we will dominate. So, I think it does, it helps and it hinders us.
I'm like stuck in the middle. I'm like for and against. I think it also stems back to how you were raised. Because it's nothing wrong with being a strong woman. It's nothing wrong with being an independent woman. But knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off is important. And even as a childhood, like, I was raised by a single woman. So that's a whole different type of ordeal. Like, I seen my mother be so strong. So I thought I had to always be so strong. So even with dating and stuff, I used to pop off like, who you talking to? Because my mom is such this independent woman. So it's like, you can't do this for me, I can do it for myself. And then it carries over, but also just it's important to know that having spaces of vulnerability, you need that balance. Because if you don't have that balance, that's where the hindrance comes from. So if you're not used to having that friendship or that community where you can share, this is how I'm feeling, let me take my hat off, as you say, then things will pile up, pile up, pile up. So just having that space of vulnerability and then having that space of being strong is very important. So balance, having a balance.
And I actually asked, it actually was a trick question because you don't have to choose, right? It doesn't have to be. I think it all kind of goes to, what we make it. I think life is what we make it. Our attitudes is what we make it. Our situations is what we make it. And so I think the most beautiful thing about being a black woman is we can create whatever we want to create, right? We can do whatever we want to do. We can be whatever we want to be. And so I think having that duality of being strong and being soft, being complex and being simple, right? I think that that's something that black women just have the luxury of being because we're amazing. And so I think you don't have to choose. I don't like choosing anyway. So that was really great. So I guess my question now is, women, what can we do to not necessarily change the narrative, but reshape it, right? Reshape it so people can really understand what a strong black woman is. How can we properly define what that is?
I think the easiest way is to just be yourself. Like, you don't have to dummy down for anyone, and you don't have to meet anyone else's standards. But whatever feels comfortable for you as a black woman, pushing that person to the forefront. Like, we don't have to hide who that person is, and we don't have to overly push it out either, but just being who you are, making your presence known, whether that looks like you're speaking out or whether it looks like you taking the background, but you still getting things done. Just being exactly who you are and whatever. I'm all about feeling comfortable, y'all. If it's uncomfortable, I'm not doing it. Like, no, not at all. Whether I'm at work, whether I'm at home, if this don't feel comfortable, we're gonna have to find another way to work this thing out. But yeah, doing what feels comfortable for you, whatever a strong black woman looks like to you, then you be that. Whatever it don't look like, then don't be it. Don't do it.
I agree, and I think that in whatever spaces that we're in, when we feel like we have to be that strong black woman, also not being afraid to lean into that vulnerability aspect that we all have as women. I think that sometimes, and we talked about it earlier, we may feel like we have to be a certain way or overexert ourselves because we are black women and also in leadership, but also we're human. And then we're women, like we've been talking about all night. So we're not just like, we're also like, So I think that actually showing all of that in a leadership role will also motivate other women who are in leadership to be their full selves and everything that comes with that.
I also would say too, like, lean into your community. Like, other black women should be inspiring other black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can unball your fist, ladies. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to feel like you have to do it all on your own, because you really don't. You can. But why would I, when I know that, it's certain things I just don't want to carry alone. I want to be able to lean on my sister. I want to be able to pray with my sister. I want to be able to allow my sister to kind of redirect my energy. And so I just, I think that too, like being able to find your people and then lean on your people. Ain't no sense of having people in your space that you can't trust and that can't pray for you. And so I would say that too, so that we can kind of continue to redefine what a strong black woman. Strong black women got other strong black women alongside her. I really believe that. So we're going to take a quick pause. If you look this way, you see that there's another chair and another mic. All right. So I told you that we do have some surprises for you. And so this panel has been amazing. Y'all, have y'all been enjoying the panel? Laugh, have you been enjoying the panel? Come on, drop some type of emoji. Let us know how you feel. Also, while the panel is going on, if you want to drop some questions in the chat that we can potentially answer for you, we are happy to do that tonight. But, we want to just pause. So this amazing young lady that we getting ready to add to this amazing panel is just really finna elevate us 2.0. This young, beautiful lady is a singer. She's a giver. She's a sister. She's a teacher. She's all types of stuff, all wrapped in and just good, all right? And so I want you all to give your energy, your best clap, woo, 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 holla, 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 brah, 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 to Miss Regine Hawkins. Let's go ahead and welcome her to the panel. Don't she look beautiful? Aren't you glad you're up here? Excited.
Hello, ladies.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so corny.
Oh, you guys look beautiful.
So do you, Jean.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Yiddy. Okay, so we're gonna pause and we're gonna let's redirect our thoughts. Let's get it together. Let's make some noise in the room. I feel like we wouldn't be here without you ladies. All this energy, all these prayers, all this just divine feminine energy. It's really giving us what we need to drive this panel. So thank you all so very much. All right, let's jump back in. So my question is, what's the most dangerous behavior and trait that you have seen to derail female empowerment and, get this, female sisterhood? Well, I guess sisterhood, that's redundant. To derail sisterhood. And what advice can you share to overcome this challenge?
If I can tag in, I think one of the biggest things is just always putting us against each other. We always have this thing where we just got to talk about, oh, I look better in this, or you look better in that. Even, just going through the different blogs is just always constantly putting women against each other. They can be in the same lane, but two different people. And it's just always trying to find that little thing to just make us bump heads. And I feel like for us women, because we can be that emotional attachment and we want people to like us, so we fall into that big bridge of, I got to go against this girl because everybody is saying, like, oh, she's better than me, or she has the same thing as me, so I have to show that I'm greater. Like, so we always find ourselves just trying to put ourselves against each other instead of just being ourselves and just, uplifting them, even if we have a sister that we know may not have, like, as much as we do, instead of looking down on them, just, uplifting them. And I think as Black women, we already are put up against other women of different cultures, so why not put that power into each other instead of allowing other people outside, of us, allow us to, fight against each other. So that's one thing I would say.
Good, Jean. You came up here and kicked it off.
Right.
I think something else, another trait that puts us against each other is that we're always so quick to take offense to things. And I think that derails a lot of sisterhood, is that, again, like you were saying, Regine, we're going up against the people that's supposed to be the closest to us. And I'm going to have to give a quick shout out to, my friends and my sisters, the ones that's closest to me. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that issue, but I see it a lot with other friendship groups, is that we're taking offense to how our sister dress. Like, yeah, she dressing, she do too much when she dress. And it goes back to learning people. Like, if that's who she is, then why you mad? We going out and I'm dressed in jeans and this my sister, y'all. This my sister gonna overdress every time.
every single time. But that doesn't mean that we have to take offense to who she is. Like, again, you learn people for who they are. You seek to understand people for exactly who they are. It goes back to like our tone. If I'm talking in an aggressive tone, my friends already know it's not in any manner to disrespect you in any way. But when you know me, you know and you understand who I am. If I'm emotional, it's not because, I'm just doing this for no reason. I mean, it goes back to Shani, like you were saying. I'm not a very like open and vulnerable person unless like you're very close to me. That's something that hinders me as hold on. Okay, there we go. But yeah, just learning people and not being so quick to take offense, whether it be like disagreements or just acknowledging people for who they are. I think offense really derails us.
Piggyback off that, I was gonna say, judging a book by its cover, like you said about Megan, she gonna step, like she gonna dress every time, and sometimes you can look at her and may look at her like a snob or think she's stuck up or think that she's not nice, but she is the sweetest person in the world. So I feel like instead of looking at how people dress or maybe their face expression isn't the best. Some people
facial
just
expressions for
that's
me. It's me. That's me.
That's me too. Me too. I'm not mad, sis.
some people don't just walk around and say, and that's fine. They still may be wonderful people. So instead of judging a book by its cover, let's get to know people. Let's see if we have the same interests. Let's see if we like to go to the same places. People are really nice if you just take the time to talk to them.
I agree with all of that. Also, I think another thing that hinders us is boundaries. Boundaries is a big one. I see that in a lot of friend groups that you guys do not know how to respect boundaries. And then also the thing is chatting. Like some of us talk, again, being listening. You don't have to tell Susie Q what your other friend said. That's one thing, because if your friend is being vulnerable to you about a thing, why are we going back to Susie Q and be like, yeah, Susie Q told me this. This is why she be looking like this all the time. But just respecting those boundaries, like that's not okay. So it's just like going to other people, starting things, starting mess, being drama-filled. Like, why us as Black women have to be so catty all the time? It's not a cute look. So I think that's one thing that hinders us as well.
I agree with everything that everybody has said. Y'all so crazy. But I think that some of the answers that we gave kind of tie into like jealousy and envy. And I don't know why that is so prevalent amongst women. I've always heard people getting upset if a woman walks into the room and she's looking cute, and people are like upset, like why she got that on? Why she doing so much? Why she doing this and doing that? With me, I'm the type of woman where when I see somebody looking good, I'm gonna break my neck to let them know, like, sis, you wearing them shoes, like you look good. So I just don't. I never really understood the jealousy and the envy. I don't know if it's something that's natural, like as women, that's within us, something that we learn growing up. I don't know where that came from or what that is, but there is so much division that is rooted in jealousy and envy.
I would say that we can be selfish too. We want everybody to hear us, but when it's time to listen to other people or reach out and make sure other people are okay, we're absent. And I think that that's something that really does divide friendships, is that we're not showing the same love that we want to receive. Like, it's all good when it's coming back to you, but when it's time to show it to someone else, then you're always busy or you forgot to do it. It's like being present. Be present in every friendship, relationship that you establish. Just be there. You got to be there for people.
I think that envy and that jealousy comes from insecurity. I think a lot of times we spend so much time being mad that we don't have a gift that someone else has, instead of taking the time to figure out what is our gift. Like, what do I do best? How do I work well in this community? And instead, it's like, oh, she can sing. I can't sing, but whatever. Like, no, okay, she can sing. You can speak. Like, figure out what's your strength instead of, downing other women because that's not your strength.
And not only that, but also if somebody, even if you can sing and somebody else sing, you feel like they whatever, take the opportunity to learn from them. A lot of times we just look and we be like, instead of being like, I want to learn how to dare run. I want to learn how to have that confidence and that stage presence. Like, what do you do? Do you practice? Because honestly, like, you also found that a real sister ain't no gatekeeper. If you ask me, like, if you like something I'm doing and you ask me, I'm going to show you the method to my madness because I want everybody to be great. And I think that that's the thing. Like, as humans, we're not intentional. We're not intentional about loving. We're not intentional about learning. We're not intentional about sharing. And I think that that's something that we have to keep putting into practice. I think being intentional about telling the people in your life that you love them, being intentional about telling that girl that's walking down the street that she looks beautiful, because you never know. Some people walking around is literally like 2 seconds from the edge of jumping off the cliff. And that one, you look good, your shoes look good, maybe could have brightened their whole entire day. Walking around realizing that your life is more than just you just being here, but it's to be a blessing. And you don't have to always give out money to be a blessing. You don't always have to like throw parties and stuff to be a blessing. Sometimes it's just merely being kind. You know what I'm saying? And being intentional about being kind, reaching out to your family and friends and saying, sister, you just so great. I'm so proud of you. And they looking like, what the heck is she talking about? I ain't did nothing worth doing this week. But you need to let people know how they feel, because that can really, really, really shift people's life in a way that might save their life. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we lack as humans overall, is being intentional about loving and just living overall. Y'all is up here. Okay. And so that's a perfect segue into my next question is, have you ever found yourself being closed off to female friendships because of the things that we are talking? Have you ever found yourself like, man, I ain't kicking it with these girls no more. Like, I'm finna just it's me time. It's me. Like, have you ever found yourself in that place? And if you have, like, what are some steps that you are prepared to take or actually intentionally doing to get yourself out of that mode, and you can share with the ladies on the live and the ladies here today?
I think for me, growing up, I didn't have no girlfriends, okay? Like, I couldn't do them. It was just always cattiness. Like, it just always ended up, we just arguing. So I was the girl with all the guy friends. I was at the park with them. I was hooping with them. I was a little tom girl. And I think once I got to high school, my auntie was like, you gonna have to get out of being with all the boys because they gonna start thinking stuff about you. And so I was like, okay. So in high school, it was very hard because I'm coming out of a place where I knew everybody and going into a whole new environment. So I picked up some friends, but it was one girl who I just really stuck with, and I think that was kind of my gateway into like gaining more female friends. Like, we needed each other. Like, she poured into me, I poured into her. And even now, like, the friend group that I have, I love them. Like, I feel like we are such strong females, and I think we all contribute something to each other. And I think God purposefully placed me with them because I'm a person that I enjoy pouring into them. Like, sometimes I can find myself like pouring too much, but they are the people that be like, okay, Regina, you're doing too much. Like, sit down. Like, all right, let's pour into you. But also, it's just finding people that know you and take all of your flaws, take all of you. And I think for a long time, I was very scared of other women judging me for who I was, or just finding that it was gonna be something that made us bump heads, because I've had experiences where it'll be a group of us and everything will go fine, and then some will kick off and it just goes so left. And I would end up by myself again. And so I think now, like, since I'm 25 and I just learned who I am as a woman and just finding myself, and I'm around females that have the same values as me, the same, that drive, that strong mindedness. And I think that's a good thing to have, is just finding women that's like you, and it'll kind of help you want to be around women a little bit more.
I do agree with Regine, but I would say for me, I'm gonna take a different approach. I had to learn what did I do wrong in my friendship, so I had to self-reflect because a lot of things I realized before I was reacting out of trauma when it came to life issues, things I was going through, and I was self-reflecting onto others. And so I had to learn, like, okay, you going through this, that don't mean somebody else deserves this. They don't need to be treated in this way. They don't need to be talked to in this way. And I did used to pour into others, but I had to realize, too, accept people for who they are. Because for me, I go above and beyond. It's your birthday. All right, we finna do this, and that. I love celebrating people. I enjoy celebrating people. If you tell me right now, birthday party, okay, what's going on? I like, for example, when Takaris was getting married, I said, okay, what's happening? What's this? So I love and celebrating others, but I had to also realize that everybody can't give that back to me. So I can't get upset at Bonquisha because they not celebrating me. But I have to realize, too, like, also finding that community that I know, like, these are my people right here that I know. If I need to be celebrating that community, and that community, sometimes they don't have what I want, but they can pour into me in a different way. They might not have the means to, like, have the money to do this and then the other, but they'll come to a service to see me sing. They'll come show their support in that way. So I have to learn my friends on different levels just to know, okay, this is what you can give. I accept it. That don't mean you have to accept everything what people can give, but if you're willing to accept that, you have to be okay with it. And then, so that's what I had to learn. And I had to learn, too, like, Phoebe, like, you're not always right. Like, it's okay. You can shut up sometimes. Like, because I be ready to go off on people because they be trying me, okay? They be trying it, but I be like, Phoebe, you be trying people too. So just realizing how I want that grace for growth because I have changed tremendously. And sometimes people treat you how you used to be, but they have to give grace to, like, okay, you develop into this new woman, so let me learn you on this another level. So I need to learn other people on that level too. So that's what I said.
That is good, Phoebe. I think that another thing would be to not let, like, failed friendships or friendships that didn't go, I guess, as planned, hinder you from being willing to continue to make those friendships with women. Because I have a solid group of girlfriends, and I thank God for them, but there has also been a time where I thought that the friendships that I had were as solid as the ones that I have now, and I felt myself being betrayed, and I felt myself when I was vulnerable and shared some things, I end up hearing them from different places outside of the friendship, and so I would just say that, just not letting those negative outcomes discourage you from still pursuing those friendships, because I feel like every woman needs a good girlfriend. Like, every woman needs a solid group of women around them, and I honestly pray for that for all of my sisters. Y'all on the live, like, every woman, like Regine was saying earlier, like, she was always with the guys, and that's cool, but there is nothing like having a good girlfriend. Women just go through different things that guys just don't always understand. And I know that we have, like, boyfriends and fiancés and husbands and things like that, but I think that even then they can't understand certain things on the same level that another woman can. So definitely moving past those negative feelings that some of us may or may not have about friendships that didn't turn out the way that we thought that they should have, moving past that and believing God to send you somebody solid for you.
I agree.
Hello. I agree, Megan. I have too been in situations where I felt like I had friends that I could trust, but it would play out into a betrayal, and as a result of that, I have been like closed off to female friendships, and not even female friendships, but friendships in general. My best friend always laughs at me because he's very outgoing and he always has new friends. And he always like, you took Drake's song, No New Friends, too seriously. Because I keep my circle like very, very close, because I'm a person that if I trust you, then I am very open with my feelings. Like, so on one end, I'm very closed off, and then it's like with those people that I really do trust, like I'm willing to share with you as much as I need to. Like, I'm gonna let it all out. But I think that a step that I have taken and that I continue to take is, again, like Rachel said earlier, not judging a book by its cover, like taking the time to get to know people and seeing if if we can develop good friendship amongst each other.
Hello.
Hello? Oh, I got it. Okay, so when I was younger, I don't think I had healthy relationships in girl groups, because I always found myself comparing myself to them, and not in a nasty way, but like literally myself. I thought I wasn't like the pretty one in the group, and I was bigger, and so being in that group always made me go like, I'm in the background, and so I kind of lean towards hanging out with guys, because it's just like, okay, I can be cool with them. I don't have to worry about, I don't wear heels, and I don't have to worry about like my clothes don't like fit me and things like that. But then I had to learn how to really, really love myself and find the awesomeness about myself. And then I was able to form healthy relationships with girls. And like Megan said, it's nothing like a really, really good girlfriend that you can talk to, tell them how you feel, have those vulnerable moments, share those secrets. And I'm glad that I was able to learn myself in the best way, so that I can start forming friends that help me for the future.
And I would even say, because y'all already gave good answers, I'm just going to say, share one of my methods trying to get past some of my struggles. But I like to actually force myself to do the thing that I'm most uncomfortable to do. And honestly, I'm going to give a little bit tonight. I'm going to be a little vulnerable. When I feel a slight bit of rejection, the littlest slight, like, oh, they looked at me wrong, they was quiet when I was speaking, they didn't clap, I shut down. I'm just gonna be honest tonight. I'm gonna give y'all a little shiny fun fact. That's just me. Like, I will literally shut down. I'm like, I ain't saying nothing else. I ain't talking to this person. He's so kind and sweet. I'm just not gonna even participate. And then I realized, like, I cannot have that attitude, because at the end of the day, my life is not about me. Like, I'm here for a reason. It's somebody else could be blessing, and me sitting in the corner with my arms folded looking like a toddler is not allowing me to fulfill my purpose. And so I'm going to push. And if my friend is watching tonight, I always love to tell this story when I'm around her. One of my really good Judys, right? We didn't start off because we started working together. I seen her in the bathroom, and I said, and I'm, hello, I'm just like, hi, how you doing? Like, my name's Shonda. And she looked like, why is this girl talking to me? And I felt like, oh, I ain't speaking to her no more. But then I said, no. I said, ooh, we gonna be good friends. I'm finna just go out of my way to talk to this young lady. And now, like, we like really good friends. Like, her kids is my god kids. And so I think by forcing me to get out of my element, I'm able to open up the door for new and long-lasting relationships. But if I'm so stuck in my feelings and my insecurities, like, I can't break down that wall of communication to be able to make new connections. Because that next person that I'm scared to talk to because I feel like they might reject me just may be the person that God is sending to me for me to help open doors for my dreams and my goals, and also for me to be that connect for them. And so I think just being intentional, again, and habitual about going against the grain and pushing the envelope, that has helped me to kind of come out my shell a little bit. All right, Real quick, we're going to pause this for a quick commercial break. Favor Friday ABC, this is the month of the creative, the lady creative, excuse me. And so we have a lot of really great things coming up, okay? Right now we have our sister to sister outreach. We will be doing a drop off to the Sanctuary of Hope Women and Children's Center. And so we will be blessing them with toiletries. We will make sure to provide a list. If you would like to donate to this cause, you can actually send it to Cash App Favor Friday ABC, or also favorfridayabc@gmail.com for Zelle to be a blessing to these amazing women. Again, we will drop off a list so that you'll be able to follow that. If you want to drop off items, feel free to reach out to us. We also do have our women's experience coming up on Friday, March 24th. So please join us here at 7 o'clock. I'm going to tell y'all 7 because we ready to kick off. We ready to go. All right, and so we have some amazing guests. We have an amazing host up here that's ready to send in the fire. We have our ladies choir and praise team, and so we just want to invite you to come out, share all of the flyers. We are sharing all of the lives because we want you to be a part of the experiences and the benevolence that the ladies of Favor Friday ABC has in store for you. All right. Now we're back from commercial break. All right. So my next question, and I want to actually gear this towards wives and mothers. Okay? So let's do it. All right. Look, aspiring wives. Okay. Future wives too. And so my question is this. Let's discuss the importance of being a woman boss, a woman leader, but also having balance in work and family.
Oh, that's me. I guess I'll take the lead on that as a wife and a mother. So for those of you who do not know, I am a school social worker and I work in a high school. Very brief. Social work is a very mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually draining job. And I started this job back in October, and when I started, I picked up a caseload of about 42 students. And in the social work world, that is a very large caseload because you have to do IEPs, you have to see students with direct minutes, you have to consult with teachers for students with indirect minutes. So it was a lot, and at this point, it's still a lot. But I noticed that in my return back to work that when I would come home, I would be so drained that I didn't have anything to give to my husband and my baby. And at the time, when I started back working, my baby was 2 months old, and it just took for me to sit back and realize that I'm pushing too much off at work, and I'm not creating a balance. Like, I'm bringing my work laptop home, trying to complete work duties at home, and my husband is looking at me like, what we having for dinner? Like, when you gonna do the laundry? Baby is, I'm like, Carty, take the baby. I'm sleepy, like, I can't do it. And I had to realize that this is not creating a healthy environment in my home. Like, we don't only want to be successful in our workplace or at school, but you want to be successful in all areas of your lives. I want my marriage to be successful. I want my son to grow up and say, my mom showed me love every single day, whether she was tired or not. So it took for me to self-reflect and realize, like, hey, you got to create some boundaries because you can't give everything at work and come home and have nothing to give. So just realizing that, hey, give a little bit less at work.
No.
If you know, then you know.
I actually love that. I think I'm going to be honest and say that when I first started the wife journey, and I call it a journey because it is definitely a journey, as well as being a mom, right? Because there's so many different seasons of my life, and being able to embrace each season. What I did or what I had the capacity and bandwidth to do in this one season, that may change, and I have to be okay with that. But I think what's been helping me is setting that expectation, whether it's my job, whether it's a ministry that I'm leading, or whatever other door God opens up. I have to set that bar that if it does not work for my family, then it won't work at all, right? And being firm on that. And I think that a lot of times as women, we don't want to say that to people. We don't want to say that to jobs. We don't want to do, we don't want to say that because it makes us look weak. But honestly, more people respect you for that, because it's like I'm setting a boundary, as, Phoebe said. And in my mind, I'm like, if anything gonna fail, I'm not gonna fail them. You know what I'm saying? Because when I don't have no job, when people in my ministry that I'm leading is mad at me and don't want to talk to me, and people fickle, this family that God has blessed me with is going to be here. And they deserve the best out of me regardless of what's going on in my life. So whatever I have to do, then that's what it is. And, being able to not stray from that boundary has really helped, because it was a struggle when I first got married, because I'm like, I thought the only thing I had to change for real is my last name. And I even struggle with that, as you know, it's a little hyphen right there. But hey, I'm keeping it real, okay? But, I didn't think I needed to change anything. And I started seeing a few things suffering. And I said, and then I was like, I noticed that if my home life ain't right, nothing else could be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to make sure whatever's happening in-house is going to affect how I operate in my job, in ministry, and all of that, because, Lord have mercy, because you take things from your house to other places. And so, no matter how many doors that God opens up for me, my family is not only my biggest blessing, but it's my most important ministry. And I think we lose sight of that, especially as Christian women. We forget that marriage is a ministry. We forget that being a mom is a ministry. And we're like, well, they're going to always be here, right? But we can't get that time back with our kids. We can't get that, as much as our husbands get on our nerves sometimes, we can't get that time back with them. You know what I'm saying? Because time, we keeping it real up here, okay? That time that, that's going by while we trying to work and climb the ladder, like, we're missing it. And I don't want to miss it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, if anything has to fail, but knowing that I can do both. I mean, I can say the same thing for you. Having that husband that can support the person that you are, that wants you to go beyond just being a wife. I'm just a mom, but still not overly taking advantage of that and being like, okay, I need to slow down. And even though this person can pick up the task, we need to make sure that we in this together. So I think just setting that bar and that expectation for me personally has really helped me to keep a better balance, because it was a struggle.
You dipped into my little gem that I was going to come back and drop as well, because I was going to say, too, just being able to communicate the need. I think for me, a lot of times, like, I try to, like, mask it. And even with my husband, again, we're keeping it real up here. A lot of times I try to, like, mask that, like, I'm tired. I don't have the capacity to do certain things on this day. But just being blessed with a husband that understands and that's willing to support me even in that, I will be very open with you all that today I had a very, very challenging day, like, to the point where I almost didn't make the panel. But to have my husband to be able to say, make a decision that's going to affect your mentality. Like, if you're not feeling mentally well, then we are not mentally well. So you have to make a decision that will affect you, and I'm going to support you in everything that you do. And to know my husband is to know that he's all things Favorite Friday, day and night. Right, Megan?
Yes.
All things Favorite Friday, day and night. But to know that I have that support in him. Like, when my baby is going through sleep regressions, y'all pray for me. But when the baby is up, I have to get up a little bit earlier because I travel to the city from the suburbs to work. So the baby may get up in the middle of the night, but having a husband that understands, like, let me get up and grab the baby because this woman has to be up within the next few hours. It's like, it's one of my biggest blessings. So being able to communicate what you need, and not even with just a husband, but that goes back to your friends. If you don't have the capacity to take on what your friends are dropping off to you that day, be open. You should be able to say that to like these people that you're calling close to you, whether you at home with friends, your husband, or your parents. Letting people know like this is exactly what I need in this moment to help me to be well. Sometimes we are unwell, and we have to be able to share those things with other people so that they can support us.
And at the risk of being too churchy, sorry, not sorry. Just understanding that like when your home life is blessed, your life is blessed. You know what I'm saying? And I think we forget that because we see success in so many other ways. We looking at Instagram and we saying like, this is what success looks like, and this is what a successful marriage looks like. And like no marriage is one size fit all, but I do believe that God has told us some specific things to do to make sure that it's longevity. And so, I think that just making sure that the things that God has blessed us with to keep us going so that we can be successful needs to be like greatly preserved. And so we just want to share a few little wife and mommy gems because it's not easy. I know sometimes you look at people and you be like, oh, your baby's so cute, but it's really, really hard to be a wife and a mom and so many other things. And so I think it goes back to like being intentional, right, sis, and knowing like, I just don't got it today. You know what I'm saying? I don't got it today, but it's such a blessing. Again, shout out roses to our husbands, our menses, who actually take the time to support, all the husbands who actually take the time to support your ladies, because even if whether you affianced or you got you a nice Christian man or whatever you have, we wouldn't, they holding us down and holding us up. So thank you all so much, fellas. We know this is a woman-dominated thing, but there's no us without you. So thank you. All right, so let's add the other ladies back in. We have one more question, and I think this is an important one and really, really great closer. Let's chat a little about the value of setting expectations, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your job and your goals, your ministries, whatever. And then also the value and the importance of being able to say no, okay? So I would love for us to talk about that because I know that that's something that we may all struggle with. The word no is really hard. And also the expectation. So let's do it, ladies. Let's roll it out.
This is actually a lesson that I'm still learning, but right now I am farther than I was before. My fiance will attest to this. He always tells me that because I'm doing so much for other people, and my sister gets on me about this too, doing so much for other people and putting out for other people, doing all of these projects and things, I look up and I haven't done the things that I've set out to do for myself. And one thing that my boo tells me is like, you've done all of these things and you look up and the people that you're doing these things for are moving forward, and you look back and you still have like this pile of work that you have not worked on. And when are you going to sow into your own ministry? When are you going to, do these things for you and for your future? He actually gets on me about this a lot. And I was talking to my therapist about it too, and she suggested that number one, saying no. So like one thing that she told me was to like look in the mirror and just literally practice saying no. Like no, 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 I ain't gonna do that. Like different ways. Yes, like different ways to say no. And as crazy as it seems, like it's so empowering. I get that word tongue-tied sometimes, but it does feel very liberating to do that. And even as an alternative, you may tell someone, I'm not able to do this, but this is what I can do instead. Or right now I have some things that are a priority for me. Maybe we can do this at another time. So that goes back to, we've been talking about communicating and boundaries and things like that. It's okay to do that. And I think that a reason that we don't say no sometimes is because we talked about like that strong black woman mentality, and y'all were talking about being wives and moms, and even though I'm not even there yet, I can just visualize trying to do these things for your husband, for your children, for work, for yourself, and getting so engulfed in all of these things that you have to do that you're literally drained and you can't pour from an empty cup. And so because you cannot pour from an empty cup, you definitely have to practice setting those boundaries, saying no, saying, hey, not today, or saying, I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling well. And this is the last thing that I'll say. Another gem that I got from my therapist is that a lot of times we don't speak up because we're afraid of the response of other people. But many times people are absolutely understanding if you communicate, hey, I can't do this. They'll respond and say, oh, okay, I definitely understand. But because we don't even give them that opportunity, because we try to do every single thing. So it's like, oh, I don't want to let them down. I don't want them to feel this way about me. But by not asking or by not communicating, you completely shut yourself off from them having that opportunity to accept the fact that you're unable to do certain things. So, yeah.
I too have a boo that constantly gets on me about that. I am such a yes person, and I think all of my friends can say that. Like, I would literally try to drop what I can to get to them. And I think I'm still learning how to say no. That's such a hard thing for me because I think my family, we just always instilled to try to make a way, like try to press your way to do something for somebody, because you never know what doing that one thing can help them do. But I've always started feeling myself just being drained and overwhelmed with yes. And so my boo would just be like, Regine, go sit down. I'm going to tell him no for you. And anybody who know him, he will literally walk up to you and she said no, but she'll do it later. So I just had to really kind of sit myself down and just understand that I have to set boundaries for myself, and that even goes into work. It's such a hard thing for me to say no, especially to a leader, like somebody that's actually over me. So my principal, he'll be throwing 60 billion things at me because they know I'm really quick on my feet. And one of my coworkers was like, you're burning yourself. You may not see it that you are, but you're burning yourself out. I see it, and you need to stop. It's okay to tell him, hey, can you give that to someone else? Hey, I can't do this right now because I have children that I'm attached to. I work with special education, so I can't always be the person that they need at that time, and it's okay. And even just setting boundaries for my friends. And I think one thing that Kay has taught me is being that person to be I can't handle that right now. If we'll have a conversation, I'd be like, oh, I need to tell you something. She'd be like, not right now. Give me 15, 20 minutes. And let me get my mind straight. But as funny as that sound, that was something that I took on because I'm I always that person that a lot of people come to because I feel like Shani, I just always got the right thing to say, girl, okay, let's go open the Bible and let's do this, or let's, don't feel like that, or I always got to find an experience, that's so me, that's the type of person I am, and I think Kay really taught me to just be I can't take it right now, just give me a little minute, and even then, I'm still learning and adjusting to doing that, so it's kind of a hard thing. I think as women, we just want to, just give everything that we have and just pour into people, but we also need to make sure that we pour into ourselves as well.
I want to agree with everything you said about the workplace. I think the workplace has really taught me to say no. Again, I'm a social worker, and at the high school that I work at, we serve black and brown students, 1% white. I have not seen the 1% yet. But with that, I am the only black social worker on the team. There's 3 of us, and I'm the only black person. So naturally, a lot of the black students seek after me. Like, even if they have an assigned social worker, they seek after me. And I feel like when I was starting the job, I was accepting like a lot of students beyond my caseload of 42 students. I'm allowing these students to come in all day. They coming into my lunch period. Now I'm sharing lunch with them. And it was just like all of my boundaries were just being like completely like ran over. And it was like I was trying to push off that I can handle it, but then it was getting to a point where it's like, I actually really can't handle this right now. Like, I need this time to myself. And again, it was burning me out, like to the point where I was just drained every single day. Like, I'm getting up, I don't want to go. And I was new to the field, so it should have felt good to me. Like, I should have felt motivated to get up and go, but I was just burning myself out. So yeah, it's very important to create that boundary, y'all. But I also wanted to acknowledge we have a comment from Lakeisha Boyd. She answered this question. She said, it's important because if you don't set expectations and boundaries, it goes with the saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And if you don't say no to people, they will run you dry and it becomes very draining. But for most like me, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with what everybody has stated. For me, by nature, I am a giver and a nurturer, like heavy. It's real big. Like my friends, you can tell them now, they have an idea. In like 15 minutes, I probably gave them the resource to who to talk to, where you need to go, this what you need to do, this how you do it, and then I'm gonna connect you to my homegirl that do this. Like I be on it. So like my friends now, they be like, I need an outfit, I don't feel like shopping, so you do it. I said, okay, cool. They got an answer in 15 minutes. And then that also, like, because I just go above and beyond for people, I start taking on their problems. Like, even like what Megan was saying is really huge. Like with my friend businesses, helping people start things, they visions, I'm always like, whatever you need, I'm here. I'm pouring into them, I'm giving everything, and then I realize my goals, I didn't complete not a thing. And I'm like, but I'm thinking like, okay, God gonna bless me at some point because I'm doing this for them and I'm doing all this other stuff. But I'm like, girl, you need to do some work. Like, yeah, he gonna bless you, but you need something. And for me, saying no has really been so hard for me. But it's very essential because I would lose myself. And you would just go crazy. Like, you would go home with a headache. Like, why do I have a headache right now? But just knowing that you taking on other people's problems, and I know I'm good behind the scenes. Like, I don't like attention, but I'm so goofy, but I really don't like attention. And it's just like, if like I do a flyer in your face, like, don't put my face on there. Don't even tell me thank you in front of people. Just tell me thank you behind closed doors. Like, that's how I am. But just knowing what God has called me to do, I have to be okay coming to the forefront. So I have to force myself to be uncomfortable and sit in the uncomfortable. So I think sitting in it has been very difficult, but also reminding myself, this is my goal, this is what I need to do. And saying no, like, my people gonna get mad, but oh well, but like, I don't wanna leave this earth and say I have not fulfilled my purpose. This is what I need to do. And then also just knowing, being in an environment that also will help me grow. Sometimes I shun away from the environments that I know I need to be in because I'm trying to be in other environments to pour into other people. So just making sure I'm doing these things. I know one big thing for me was dance. Like, I've been so passionate about dance. I've been dancing since 3, but I got to a point that I just like, oh no, forget it. This person's better than me. I don't like this. But just knowing that I like to build other dancers, but I haven't challenged myself either to even grow, to put myself back in the environments. It's just like, come on, Phoebe. Get it together, get it together. So when Megan be practicing, I be practicing all the time. But I'm going to take your thing and say no in the mirror because I need to do that. But just knowing those things are very, very vital because you don't want to lose yourself.
Hi. Okay, so I just wanted to speak about just, like you said, I think it goes back to sisterhood in general and just putting yourself in a position and being the person for your community to make it okay. Like, my grandmother's father was Hello. Okay, so my grandma and daddy was the pastor. Hi. My grandma's dad was the pastor. Now my dad is the pastor. So my mom is the first lady. And so we've always been a part of the church. And so what that looked like was, I'm 4 years old and the mic's acting funny. So now I'm running to the audio room to try to fix that. I don't know how to fix that, but that's just something that we started doing. And so all my life, I've seen the women in my life serving, being there and providing and doing more than what's expected. And so I think, and then when I grow up, now I'm in a workspace where they're like, okay, Nia, you actually came here and you doing your stuff, so let's give you extra, let's give you more, let's give you all of this that you can do. And I can do it, but I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out. So then I go home and I talk to, and this is why I think it's important to have sisterhood, because I can call my daddy and he nah, blah, 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 doing, and I'm like, that's not the energy I need right now. What I need is to talk to my mama and my sister and my grandma and be like, I'm overwhelmed. Be like, you should be overwhelmed. That's overwhelming. You need to tell them that you need to take a step back. This is how you should approach that. This is how you can do this with grace. This is how you can do this elegantly without losing your job. Because like we said earlier, there are certain ways that men can present something and address something that women can't. And so, or that is not as acceptable as women. So being in a community and being part of a community to affirm the feelings of the women in your life and just having women in your life that affirm you. So, yeah.
Amazing. Go ahead, Nia. I just wanted to add that, every lady up here just said something extremely profound, but just to kind of piggyback, you can't pour out, and I've said this before, but you can't pour out if you're burnt out. There's literally, I don't ever want to find myself, and I found myself in situations just sitting there in a room looking dumb, talking about, I don't got nothing else to give. I've literally felt like that before. I felt like that recently, I don't got nothing else to give. And I can't do it no more, Lord. That's just how I felt, and God didn't create us to be that way. You know what I'm saying? He created all things, including balance and expectations and prioritizing and different things like that. And, I'm learning that it's not the quantity of my open doors. It's the quality of my production when I get those open doors. And if I'm constantly going and going and going and going, I want people to remember me not just by being there, but I want them to be able to remember my name for being consistent and efficient and proficient and showing up in a way where I know I can count on her. But if I know today ain't my day, or I know that I'm juggling things, I literally will break my back to be in two places at once. And I've done that before multiple times. I literally had a shift when I got pregnant. And I started getting a little big. And I started noticing, dang, my body not doing what it used to be able to do. My mind is not moving as fast, And then I was like, I don't think I could do this today. I just can't. And then I started letting people know I had to really say no. It forced me to have to say no. And then people started understanding. They might just, because I was pregnant, gave me a little pass or whatever. But then I said, I can't go back, won't go back to the way I used to be, okay? I'm like, this is beautiful. I'm like, when I can show up, I will, and I'm in good energy. I'm giving the best energy I got. I'm able to be there. I'm able to be present. And, that was just life-changing for me. And I think, again, having that expectation and setting those boundaries and respecting yourself, no matter what I give to you, and you, I have to save a little bit for me. You know what I'm saying? So even being intentional, if I have a day set for me, I don't care what nobody need. Can't do it today. I'm going to go get my nails and feet done. I'm going to the show. I got plans with my family. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a fear that I had to say yes to anything or everything. I ain't gonna say anything. I had to say yes to everything because that one yes could be an opportunity for me. But one thing that I realized is that anything that God has for you is never going away. Anything that is for you, it's going to be there. You could literally say no to a job and then you come back and they we still want you 6 months later. And I just come to a point where I want everything that God has for me, and I feel like everything that God has for you is undeniable. Like, it's going to be, like, you're going to be led to it, it's going to be led to you, and there's nothing you can absolutely do, right? But I have to be in the mental capacity to be able to take it on so that when I get that opportunity, I'm able to be unforgettable, right? And my skills and my know-how and my energy can be undeniable. I don't want to go nowhere and I got piss poor. I'm piss poor. Like, my work piss poor, my attitude piss poor. I really don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not saying that it's okay to push sometimes, because sometimes we just be in our own way. But I think even knowing yourself enough to know, like, am I really burnt out, or I'm just really in my feelings? And being able to, like, assess that. And if it's this over the other, then I would say, like, it's okay to say no. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. But you all said some really profound things. Did anybody up here have anything else before we turn it over to the audience? Okay, come on, sis.
I think that this goes back to everything that we were saying. I think that as women, we should be okay with the fact that just because we can do something doesn't necessarily mean that we should. Like, we think, or we know the term, like, Renaissance woman, the type of woman who can do everything and do anything and can do it well, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should spend our time doing those things, because time is something that you don't get back. And one thing that that has really stuck with me, I'm in school, y'all. And one thing this is actually in my women in entrepreneurship class that I learned this. She told us that, whenever you're working on a task, you're either adding to or taking away from the end goal. So whatever it is that you're doing needs to be worth doing, if that makes sense. So this is a lesson that I had to learn myself, because I'm the type, okay, I'm gonna get on YouTube, I'm gonna figure out how to do my hair. I learned how to do makeup on YouTube. I learned how to do, like, flyers and Photoshop and videos and literally everything, like, on my own. So I am the type of woman to, okay, we're gonna figure it out and get it done, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I should take the time to do that. There are so many, like, talented people around us, and we can, when people have the capacity, we can support other women, other Black businesses. If we have the means, we can pay to get things done and things like that. So I think that that's one thing that we should remember. Just because we can doesn't necessarily mean that we should.
Also, just find your reset button. I know for me, the gym is a way that I can go in there, I listen to my music, I let all of my stress out, because I'm just, I'm running or I'm lifting. Like, find your reset button. If you're going to run, you're going to have to reset as well. So find it. If it's going to the nail shop, like Shani said, go to the nail shop. If it's just going home, taking a nap, go take a nap. Whatever it is, if you want to take yourself out to a fancy restaurant, do that. I know my sister always going on a solo date. Do whatever it is that you need to reset, because you have to reset. Everything needs to reset. A TV, a car, everything needs to reset. You too.
Okay, well, y'all give these ladies an amazing, like, they're amazing. I feel so blessed to just be feeding off y'all energy and everything. I feel empowered. But we're going to go ahead and open it up to the audience. We have some amazing, beautiful ladies in the audience that just been sitting here just intrigued. And so if you have any questions, we want to open up the floor. Anybody on live as well, we did read a comment. Thank you, Keish, for kicking us off in the comments. If you have anything else that you would like to add to the conversation or ask a question, we will be checking. We're happy to read those. But if any ladies, if you guys have any comments, or even if you just want to let us know how this panel has blessed you tonight, I'm sure every lady will be blessed by you saying that you were blessed. So turn it over to you ladies. Anybody?
This was very, 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 very good to me. Inspiring. As someone being in their last year in college, like, focusing on sisterhood. Like, in college, I'm pretty much on my own now. Like, I'm in the apartment now by myself. I have, like, one friend, but sometimes I don't want to say I feel lonely sometimes. Well, I do feel lonely because my friend, she has her significant other. So if I'm not, in class or at work or doing homework, I'm literally sitting in four walls, like watching TV. And one thing I learned that it's okay to be alone. So like I start, like you said, every week I do something. Like last week, y'all, Bath and Body had a sale, Victoria's Secret had a sale, and I spent like so much money on perfumes, lotions. I came home, went to the nail shop yesterday, but I do have a question as far as like being in your position. How do you cope with so many people pouring into you with their problems? And it's like how do you cope with like, dang, I'm tired, who can I talk to? Or if you feel like you can't talk to anyone, how do you go about like getting yourself back to yourself? Yeah, like normal.
I cry. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I cry. Like, this panel has also blessed me. Like, I wanna cry right now. Like, like, yeah, like, because it's like when you feeling overwhelmed, it's like, who do I talk to? Who do I turn to? And it's like, even sometimes when you have those people that you are close to, it's like you don't want to put too much on them either. So it's like, where do you turn? A lot of times I do. I go into my own little space and I do cry. I let it all out. And then when I need a little pick me up, I pull out my Bible. Like, because I know for sure that there's going to be something in there that's going to encourage me to keep going, that's going to encourage me that it won't be like this always. Like, there's going to be a turnaround, and that's something that I'm confident in. Like, even if I'm not confident in the things that people are telling me and the advice that they are giving me, I'm confident in the word because I've seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in others' lives. So I cry, and then I read the Bible. I'm gonna pray a little bit, and then I'll be ready to get it back together. I'm gonna call my mom and my sister too, and I'm gonna cry to them because those the two. Listen, I know y'all overwhelmed too, but y'all gotta take this too. So, but yeah, that's my method for my madness.
I think I cried too. Like, I'm not gonna even lie, this week I cried so much this week, it didn't make no sense.
It's only Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday and it feel like it's Friday. Like, my God. But no, I think because also how you said, like, you, like, in your last year of college, I'm like, I could speak to you as in transition. I know for me, I've been dealing with transition heavy because I just moved back to Chicago. So transition has been very, very hard, like transitioning to a new job, where at my old job, I'm like so superior. I knew this, I got this. And like now I'm like, God, I don't think this is my job for me because I don't want it. And so I will cry, I will take a nap, but I will say what not to do is spaz out, because I also learned that, again, you remember I said I talk too much, I was flipping out on my mouth on people because I was just so like, where y'all at? Y'all ain't doing nothing. But like reading the Bible really helped. But also talking to my mother, like too, like you just so full of wisdom. And then another thing too, my outlet, I watch sermons or like music, listen to music that calm my spirit down. Yeah. Because sometimes I can't talk right away because I'm so like overwhelmed and annoyed, and it's like I don't want to be crying and angry at the same time, going off. So I want to be able to explain myself to others in a soft tone, but also because I like the arts and I dance, sometimes I have to dance it out. Like, you know, finding that outlet. So I will like dance, like just to, you know, take some stress away, or like also say like be in community. Like even if I don't talk, I like to be in people's presence, but I know that brings peace. So like, for example, like my friend, she'd just be doing her work and reading. I'm like, okay, you have a calm, peaceful spirit. So I just sit in her room and just get that peace and be like, okay, I'm okay now. So just finding those different things that you know to get back to yourself, like, you know. But crying and napping and praying, those are always gonna be the top 3 for me. But yeah.
I want to pause really quick because I also want to capitalize on that alone aspect that you mentioned, because I think as ladies, a lot of things that a lot of young ladies struggle with is being alone, and whether that is in a relationship or just spending time by yourself. But it is so important, because in that alone time is where you get to really understand who you are. Like, we spend a lot of time trying to understand a man. I'm gonna be straightforward. We spend a lot of time, like, while we're dating, we're trying to understand this man so that we can be the perfect wife for him one day. But have you really understood yourself? And I can say that from a personal perspective, because when I was in college, I was just moving, and I never sat down and really developed me and understood me. Like, why do I want things to be this way? Why is this my expectation? Why is this the standard that has been set? And it took for me to hit rock bottom. Like, at one point in college, everything just flopped. It just seemed like everything that could go wrong went wrong at one time. And in that moment, it was very important for me to sit by myself in my room. I was in an apartment with 3 other friends. We had a 4-bedroom apartment. I sat in my room to the point that it was a little bit concerning. But when I was able to come out of that room, I knew exactly who I was, what I was expecting, what I needed. So I will encourage you to continue to sit in that alone time. Go out and spend some time by yourself, because when you come out of college, you're going to transition into something completely different. Like, this right now feels like you went to college as a freshman. It was a completely different thing. You transition through the years and you experience something new. And then the craziest part about it is you're going to transition again, and everything is going to be new all over again. So take some time in that alone time to learn you.
And I would even, can I piggyback off your really great point? Not even just in just relationships, but in all things, right? Because a lot of times we spend a lot of time trying to get a seat at the table. Baby, I am the table. Everything that I have that God has blessed me with, I am the table. And when I come together with sisters with this table and this table and this table and this table, baby, it's a spread, right? But I can't know that I'm the table if I don't spend time to figure out what works for me, why am I special, what do I have to give, how to prioritize that so I'm not giving too much too quick. You know what I'm saying? And assessing things. And so I just wanted to add to that, like, that's good for anything even beyond relationships. You're the table, Kay. That's a great question.
I think for me, I write everything down. And I didn't even get to the point where I take my iPad and I would record myself. It'll literally sound like I look like I'm talking to myself, or I'll literally like record myself and get all that emotion out. And I'm like, ooh, okay. And then I might delete it or I might keep it. And then months later, I'll look back and be like, wow, I was in a really different spot than where I am now. Because I think sometimes we can think that we are overbearing our friends with all of our problems and our emotions. But my mama, like Kyra said, you're going to get every piece of this, okay? Because you brought me in this world. I didn't ask for it, so you're going to feel it, okay? But I think when we go to our mom or any female person that we look to as a mom, it's just that covering, that wisdom that they always give us. But yeah, I write everything down. If I'm feeling some type of way, if I'm mad, if I'm angry, if I just feel like, if I just had this spur of the moment where I'm just like, I ain't feeling it, I just had to write it down. Even if it's my notepad, if it's just physically taking a pen and paper and writing it down. I may even go to the extent of burning it, because that's in my mind of I'm letting it go. So I have to get it out some type of way. And I've also, like Kyra said, trying to, like Phoebe said, just trying to be mindful of not taking it out on other people. Sometimes I just have to, go incognito and just turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. And hey, a couple people won't hear from me for a couple of hours and they be like, you good? Nah, just give me a minute. Sometimes I just go in my room and my mama, she'll come knock on the door you good? I'm but give me a minute. Just to give myself that time to just rejuvenate myself. So just, it's okay to be alone. I tell my friends all the time. I know they look at me and be like, girl, you've been in a relationship for so long. How can you say that? But honestly, I tell people when you single, that is the best time. I had to grow up in a relationship. So I had to learn who I was in a relationship. And it's so easier to do it when it's just you. You just get to find out who you are as a woman, and I push that envelope so much because I think that they look at, you know, a lot of us are in relationships and we look so happy, and I think they see that on the outer shell, but they don't see like what we mentally go through to have that shining like relationship. Like we look happy, but baby, are they really happy is the question. Like them Instagram pictures look real cute, but when the camera is off, like, are they really going through it? And I think that's the biggest thing, is just adjusting to yourself first.
I think, I forgot I didn't have a mic. But I think another thing, like the point that piggyback what Takira said, being alone and stillness is very important. Not to go too deep, but when people just keep dumping so much on you, it clouds you that God can't even speak to you. So it's just like, it's so much clutter that you have to climb through. Like, you know, just to, God, I don't hear you. So it's like sometimes we be saying, God, I don't hear you. God, I don't hear you. But we got so much clutter that's clouding our minds. So it's very vital to, like, you know, be in that room so you can hear from God clearly on what you need to do and not seek the opinions of other people. So it's okay to tell them, like, not right now. Like, no, I cannot take what you have to say. Not saying it's bad things, but I just can't take that right now because I need this moment. Like, you know, if your time is 20 minutes with God, all right, in these 20 minutes when I wake up early in the morning, I don't want to check a phone. I don't want to declutter myself with your things. So just making sure that while renewing your mind, that you stay renewed by keeping the clutter out.
We have a comment from Shay. Y'all say hey, Shay.
Hey, Shay.
Okay, so Shay said, heavy on crying and listening to music. Not to sound too cliche, but when I feel like I have nobody to talk to, I talk to God. I will sit in the shower and just talk to God like he's right in front of me. I scream, I cry, whatever I need to get out, I tell it to him.
One little last thing. One thing that I learned from my coworker who is a counselor, whenever there's kids that come in and they crying and they like, I want to talk to you, she stopped them and she say, I want you to take a breath and think about this. Am I ready to receive what you're about to say to me? I just want you to think about that. Like, I want you to think about me. It's like, you want to get some stuff out, but am I ready to take on the burden that you're about to pull onto me? And then the kids be like, maybe not. So, or she'll ask them, like, you know, are you about to tell me something that you can fix yourself before you throw it on me? So I think I learned that, and I took that on too, of being like, am I prepared to listen to what you finna say? So even asking the other person that, like, do you think I'm ready to say what you about to say? Like, are you about to put a lot on me? Or if you just like, oh, you just need some like basic, you know, advice about something, or is it like very overwhelming?
Yeah, I agree with all that has been said, as I have all night. But I think that during that alone time, because in my senior year of college, I felt like that too. I mentioned like some like friendship things that were happening. That happened my senior year of college. So I know all about like, you know, being around people and they're like cool, but then like just going to your room and, you know, spending that time by yourself. And I also think that I experienced a breakup. It was either my senior year or my junior year. So I was feeling like very like hurt and alone, and it was just a lot that was going on. And one thing that I made it my business to do was, so when I had the guy that I was dating at the time, I was like always excited to like talk to him. You know how we feel. I was excited to talk to him, and I'm excited to hear from him and things like that. And I told myself, that's how I want to feel with my relationship with God. Like, I want to get to the point where, and this is when I was like newly single, I was like, you know, I want to get to the point where when I'm like, ooh, I'm giddy to, you know, talk to this boy, I want to get to that point now where I'm not in a relationship, and, you know, these friendship things are very strange, because I was like excited to talk to my friends as well. So things like that, I'm like, I want to get to this place with the Lord. And I remember one day I was riding on the shuttle coming back from campus to my apartment, And I like felt that. I was like, man, I can't wait to get home, get in my prayer closet. I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk to the Lord. Because at the time I was like really new to being in my prayer journal and like just like shutting out the outside and really getting into that safe space, like a real safe space. I finally got to that point where like, oh, like I'm excited to talk to the Lord. Like I can't wait. And I think that during that alone time, I think it's easy for Christians to kind of forget like the I don't want to say capacity, but like the access that we really do have to God, because we're just so used to it. We so used to, going about our day. We might get up and pray and, continue to do whatever it is throughout the day. So it's not like fresh and new to us anymore because we're so used to it. But I think that especially during that time where nobody's in your ear and you're not being clouded by anything and you have all of this free time and we always have access, but you have like all of this free time that you can access God, that really like digging deep into that and cultivating that relationship, because that relationship, out of all friendships and boos and bays and things like that, that's the relationship that we really, really are going to need at the end of the day. So yeah, like you might feel lonely and you may feel discouraged and you may feel like, oh my goodness, like I just can't. With this, God is literally and probably waiting on you to, really dig in. So I encourage you to do that, Kay.
Hello. I have a question. Like, how can you come out of your comfort zone? Because I'm like a shy type person.
I can try. I think it kind of goes back, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but again, pushing to go against the grain. The things that I am so uncomfortable, or the thing I'm most afraid of because I'm afraid of rejection, or I'm afraid I'm gonna look silly, those are the things that I wanna like be intentional about doing, because I don't wanna be in a place where I'm just always comfortable, because sometimes comfortable means stale. And I don't want my life to be stale. I'm a person that I always want to learn. I'm always inspired. I always want to be open. And in order for me to stay in that place, I have to be willing to be uncomfortable, And again, going back to whatever you have on the inside of you, it needs to come out. It serves nobody, including yourself and our Almighty God, if you just keep it sheltered up. There's something that God has on the inside of you that somebody needs. We could sit here on this panel all day and talk about experiences and do all types of stuff, and it'd be good, but it may be something that you might be sharing that may really break through to somebody. It don't even necessarily have to be super churchy. It could just be your personal experience, but you will never know. We are not created to just for us. You know what I'm saying? And I think even keeping that mindset, when I want to go run and hide, when I want to, me and Kyrie, I want to run away. I be telling her, I want to run away. I think that takes me back and that keeps me centered, that it's not all about me. My life is not about me. I mean, it's about me a little bit. But at the end of the day, if I step outside of myself, I think I have more to give than what I even can imagine that I have to give, if that makes sense. Everything that we're supposed to have, God gave it to us when he created us. Everything that you need, you have God, and then he instills it in you and he works in you so that you can be able to pour out. But if you got your fist tight because you're uncomfortable and because you shy and whatever, then you have to ask yourself, who am I serving? Who am I helping? And so again, being intentional about going against the grain and taking those things, and even sitting down and assessing, why am I uncomfortable? Why do these situations make me feel scared? Do I have anything to lose? Because I really don't even know these people, and if I never see them again, right, it ain't gonna make me no difference. And so even sitting down and assessing that, why do you feel shy? Is it because that's just the way that you are, or is it an insecurity? Or is it just because you think you don't have nothing to give? Really sitting down and assessing that and working towards working that out. Because again, God has something so special on the inside of you. I don't even know you, sister, but that smile alone, that gentleness that I feel when you ask that question, the world needs more of you, right? And so just keeping that in mind. So that's my advice, little old me. So I hope that was helpful.
I have a question. I'm just curious, like, what has been you guys' like most constant prayer?
I'll say for me that I'm actually being used, that I'm allowing God to use me the way that He wants to, that I'm being a vessel, that I'm helping, but also that I have a sharper ear to hear Him. I think that I do a lot throughout the week, and sometimes He may be talking to me, and I'm just so out of it that I don't hear Him. So sometimes I stop and okay, devil, you can't have this. But sometimes I ask, sometimes I ask myself, like, God, am I really listening to you? Can I hear you? And sometimes I just take a pause. I think that's my constant prayer, is just making sure that I'm doing what He wants me to do for the kingdom.
I'm gonna be super vulnerable right now because I'm scared to even say this because you'll be like, girl, Shani, I thought you was a leader. My most constant prayer is, God, please don't let my demons that I'm struggling with outshine you. Because there is a lot of hurt and pain and depression and that I struggle with on a daily basis. More than I'd like to share, more than people know, just different things that have happened to me, traumatic things that have happened to me that I have not been led to share yet. And so out of nowhere, I go from 0 to 60. There's no chill in between for me. I'm super happy or I might be super low. And that's just the way that I am. And I think going in and asking God to help me to accept that about myself and surrender to it so that I can surrender to Him so He can continue to fix me. And so I don't ever want my pain and my struggle and me standing in the way of what God wants to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I can do that. I think the main thing, a lot of times we blame things on the devil, but sometimes it's just us standing in our own way, being stubborn, being prideful, feeling unworthy. I know for me, sometimes I feel so unworthy to do a lot of things. I feel so like I feel like I'm not capable of doing nothing. I'm like, why did somebody choose me? I get that a lot. And so I ask God to get me out of the way so that, people can actually see Him inside of me and I'm not so like crippled by my own self-loathing that God can't get the glory. So that's my most honest prayer every day.
I would say that my constant prayer is for guidance. I would say over the last few years, I have transitioned like through different stages nonstop, like whether it was work, school, from relationship to marriage, from marriage to motherhood, and everything happens like so swiftly for me. So for me, every single day, and even to this very day, because there are still like transitions that are happening, I'm praying that God will guide me, that I will make the right decision. Like Shani said, I am also 0, I don't go to 60, 100. 0 to 100. And a lot of times I see that as a leader as well. With my husband being a leader of Favorite Friday, there's like a lot of times when things don't go the way that he expects. And as opposed to responding as a leader, sometimes I want to respond as a wife. And I want to protect him at all costs. But that's why I have to pray every single day, like, Lord, guide every aspect of my life, because I recognize that how I respond can affect so many different things. Like, it does not just affect me. It'll affect other people. It'll affect the children that I work with. It'll affect, like, it's just a domino effect. So my constant prayer every single day, Lord, guide me. Guide me to being a great wife. Guide me to being a great mother, a great friend, a great leader. Everything that I need God to guide me.
Testing. I think what I pray like so hard for is just really trusting God with my life. I really want to be a doctor. I'm talking about I've been wanting to be a doctor since I could say the word doctor. And this journey has been super discouraging because I feel like I've dedicated my entire life to that. And so I pray to God that it comes to me without it being under my control, because I can't control any of that. I can only do the best that I can and pray that he, lets it happen. And so another thing that I pray, like, attached to that is that I don't miss out on the in-between, because I sit on other gifts that I have because I'm so dedicated to just being a doctor, and then I miss out on life. So that's why I pray to God so hard that, like, God, just help me just trust you. And like Takara said, and just guide my feet, and so that I'm not always trying to control things and make things happen on my own. I just want it to flow. I want things to flow the way you want it to flow. I want you to use me the way you want to use me. I want to fulfill the purpose that you have for me, whether it's being a doctor later, later on when it's supposed to happen, like, not my will, Lord, but your will be done. That's my prayer every single day. I write it, I say it, I cry it, like that. That's my prayer.
My prayer is really to God to keep my mind. It's my mind, and also extending grace to myself and forgiving myself fully, and being free, because it's some things, like Shani has said, like, she been through some things that she's not, ready to share yet. And with me, I have went through a lot of things in transition where my mind gets to wondering and keeps wondering, and sometimes your mind can take you to places that you do not want to go in. So I just be like, God, keep my mind. I pray for a sound mind every day, because I need a sound mind to make sound decisions. I need a sound mind to be an effective person. And then also, like, just forgiving me, because, like, being so hard on myself, I know the access I have to God. You repent, and it's, okay, God, you forgive me for my sins. But, like, some of the things that you just felt like, dang, God, I really betrayed you this bad. Like, you feel so unclean, but just knowing that God just cleans me. So the guilt and then the shame, like, God, free me from the guilt. God, free me from the shame. Let me walk into my freedom, because there's some things, like, even my friends don't know, family don't know, like, whoever want to talk to me, talk off this, but, like, just in general, like, the journey that I've been on discovering Phoebe, like, has been something, like, literally, because it's like the person that seemed like they had the answers, that had everything, really was destroying herself, destroying her vision, destroying her goals, like, because my mind, man, like, the devil played so much on my mind that it caused me to be such this bitter person. But, like, just knowing, like, God, thank you for freeing me. Thank you for renewing me. And, like, just the calmness and the peace that I have to daily do that and die to my flesh, because if I don't, the devil can bring those triggers, and be like, oh, let me trigger you by this. But just knowing, like, God has not given me the spirit of fear, so eliminating fear. So I just pray that daily, because I know what God has for me, and just being able to walk into that freedom, to be that amazing Black woman.
I don't know about y'all, but this has been one of the best girls' nights I've ever had in my life. And we ain't need no food, we ain't need no Rita, we ain't need nothing. All we had was what we had, and it was just so good. And I thank y'all so much because I needed this night, really. I did. And so I believe that this time was well spent. We thank you all so much on the live. This was Girls Talk Overflow because we just got real good and good and good. And so we thank you all so much. I want to, again, these amazing ladies, Miss Megan Barnes, Mrs. Takira Barnes, Miss Phoebe McLean. I don't know why I gotta feel like I gotta say your name lightly or something. Miss Rachel Boo, and the beautiful, awesome Regine Hawkins. Thank you so much. I told you she was gonna elevate our panel, y'all. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Look, we just talked about this. And Shani B. Lord, but we had a good time. So I want to close like this. I want all of the ladies here to help us with our sign off. I want y'all to come up to the front. Come on, let's get centered. Come on in the camera. Come on, y'all all look good. We just talked about this. Come on, come on, come on. Let's move swiftly. All right, let's come up so we can all be centered into the camera. And we are going to do this. On 3, we are going to say, I can get from telling you right now. On 3, we are going to say, crown reclaimed, okay? All right, we got our good cameraman. He getting us together. Okay, y'all ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna say crown reclaimed. 1, 2, 3. Crown reclaimed. Thank you all so much for joining us. Y'all have a great night.